Should be good now. Be no delay. I think it's because I had it hooked up to the PS4. That's why. Yeah. All right. Welcome to the episode 17 of the Film Planet Podcast. I'm your host Nadal,
Wow.
and today we're gonna be breaking down the second Deadpool 2 trailer, and then we just saw Pacific Rim yesterday.
So is that your Peter Piper pick the pickle peppers or
I
something?
think it is Deadpool. I got it right there, time. Pacific Rim trailer, and then the Tomb Raider trailer from last week. We kind of just giving our thoughts and ideas on those two movies, and then Jamal, you said you had a little tidbit, but we'll address that when we get to that now. With that being said, the Deadpool 2 trailer, like I said earlier, it pretty much feels like they're ramping up the same things from the first one. They're gonna double down on it, which they actually hinted at the very end of the trailer.
Yeah.
Basically, hey, we're gonna do the same thing, but plus on it. Funny in parts. I'm excited. Like I think you said it. Cable's just gonna be he's gonna be deadpan, which I think
it's almost like a Terminator type character in a comedy.
Exactly, yeah. But no, it looks fun. The action looks fun again. But Deadpool I think lends himself to fun action set pieces and things like that. So that's a no brainer for them on there. And then this isn't really a trailer breakdown, but they just did some reshoots, like a week ago or something like that, or they're currently in reshoots?
2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks now.
So are they still doing it, or are they done with those? Safe to say they're probably done?
I'm not sure.
That right there raises concerns because the movie comes out, 2 months? Month and a half, not even that?
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, so there's only certain things that are going to be reshot 2 months before the release of a movie. And it's usually like something in the beginning or something in the end.
Yeah, and
a whole lot in the middle is getting
a lot of people saying, well, the test screenings were really good. Yeah. But I'm like, if test screenings are really good, you don't do reshoots.
Nope. Those don't ever
happen. We're not
happen.
saying that it was horrible, but
it's something went wrong. Something did not go right. But and then it's one of those things. I mean, it's not going to stop me from watching the movie. I think it's not going to. A lot of the Deadpool fans, which I think that is an entity of their own. Like a lot of people are really loyal to that character. So they're going to go see the movie regardless.
He has a cult following.
He has a cult following. Yeah, he's going to go. I remember the video game wasn't very good, but that was probably one of the most pre-ordered things when I worked at GameStop. Was that Deadpool video game? And then let's dump right into.
One more thing about the Deadpool 2 trailer. I think that usually he's right. You ramp up trailers, but to me, it's kind of like from the interest aspect. The Deadpool trailers, none of them are bad, but it's like going in reverse. It's the first Deadpool trailer where he acted like Bob Ross. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like the teaser trailer was awesome where he had where he said Soylent Green and box office gold, speaking like Bob Ross. That was genius. And then every trailer since then has gotten more generic. Not bad, but just kind of generic. So we'll see what the
market to them seem to play around with it more.
Yeah, because the reason I say play around with it more because what made the first Deadpool hit so well was because of the marketing.
Yeah.
The marketing was some of the best marketing ever for a movie.
The chimichangas, the Valentines.
He pulled up with the chimichangas, the Valentines, the billboards. I think he was on ESPN one day, an ESPN show.
Chimichangas literally released to supermarkets packaging with Deadpool on it.
Yeah, but then but he was popping up in food trucks. It just seemed like it's not that same appeal there. So
well, at the same time, as far as marketing, this is just from a purely marketing standpoint. They know they got something now, whereas before they didn't. So they might have been pushing it a little bit harder than normal.
Yeah, but
like you said,
into Deadpool is breaking of the fourth wall, and they were literally breaking the fourth wall in real life and incorporating it all around the film. That was genius marketing because the movie itself, I think the movie itself was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't my cup of tea, but I think the marketing is what got people.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's yet to be determined. We'll see. And then second is the Pacific Rim Uprising review.
You want to review Tomb Raider first?
Yeah, me do, because I was one who watched it. Yeah, so let's go get that out of the way because it's smaller in terms of reviews. For a video game nerd, a guy who's played Tomb Raider, since I was a young age, I've never been a huge fan of the franchise, but I have played it. I put a lot of hours into the reboot, which this film is more directly based. Is that is it's they took the reboot and that's what they're basing the movie on, and it was probably from a visual standpoint. I'll just talk about visually first. Is from a video game movie, 1-to-1 was pretty similar. Down to like the wounds that she gets in the movie, some of the bigger action set pieces, how she comes across the weapons that she uses in the movie. It's all very very closely related to the video game. So if you're fan of Tomb Raider, I think you would really appreciate that because they did it in an organic way where it wasn't just, hey, look, that was in the video game, we added it in the movie, it serves no purpose. This, it moved the story along, which kind of bleeds into the pacing. The director really understood that this was a video game, and you can't have a lot of, just characters talking, walking around, doing nothing. It was very fast paced movie, even from the very beginning. It never really slowed down to stop, except for a couple seconds just to kind of explain to you who she is. That she's the reluctant heir to a multi-billion dollar a company with her father, which she's reluctant to take, not only because she doesn't feel like she needs the money, but once she signs the papers, that's her admitting that her father has passed away. And in the movie, the father is technically missing for the last 7-8 years.
Mm.
So she finally gets a hint that her father might still be alive. So that's what sets her off. She doesn't use the money to get there. She sells a necklace that was also in the video games, a little jade pendant, off for money so she can get over to the next country, hire a ship captain, and so on and so forth. Gets there. It's in the video game. It was more of a supernatural element to it, other than just the main bad guys. There was like the big devil queen. She had super witch powers, things like that. But in this one, they grounded it back, and she was just a carrier of a disease, and she locked herself away because she was carrying it, so that no one else would get sick.
Spoiler alert! I ain't seen the movie, but yeah.
But and stuff like that. It has a couple weird things that are semi supernatural, but they don't really touch on it, which I had a problem with because it was like, why even bother if you never were going to go in that direction? Why even tease it?
Maybe they were with a sequel.
But I mean, if this followed the video game exactly, so the sequel is going to go. It's not even gonna. This story is done. If that makes sense. This version of her life is over. She's moving to the next thing. But yeah, no. I mean, if you're a Tomb Raider fan, and you're a video game fan, really, just in general, I would say check out the movie. We checked that out on IMAX. It doesn't really matter. That's just what the earliest time we had available when I went. But it'll be just fine at any regular theater if you don't have an IMAX or you don't want to spend that extra money for an IMAX ticket. If I were to give it a rating, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10 across the board. Just from the pacing onward, everything 7 out of 10. So I really enjoyed the movie. It was fun, but it just had its little setbacks here and there that weren't really video game related, more movie related.
Okay.
So that's the one thing that I can take away from it. Of any statement, the problems with the movie weren't the video game aspect of it, but it was the movie, like the creation, like the actual production of the movie. There's certain little story things that were like, why was that in there if you're not exploring it? And you've already solidified that you're not exploring it. But it's it's an enjoyable movie.
Ooh.
And then let's see, Pacific Rim. I'll let you start with that one.
The best way to put Pacific Rim for me is it took everything bad about the first movie and uplifted it, but it took everything great about the first movie and tore it apart. It's weird. Like, I've never seen a sequel to a movie or a soft reboot ever do that to a film. Like, it literally, the worst aspects of the first Pacific Rim was character development, kind of not enough action. The action they had was A1, but it probably wasn't enough of it. This movie, it improved on that, on those aspects, but then the other aspects that made Pacific Rim great, the world itself, it was unique. Del Toro, who's one of the greatest directors of currently, he made us such a unique world. It was a cool world. It was like different. The world they had in this one is like a world we would live in.
It was just our world. Yeah, that I now that I didn't really think about it while I was watching it until you just said that, is the world that they were in just felt like a futuristic version of ours, but not that far into the future.
But it was cool looking,
Yeah.
Del Toro's was cool. And here's something else, like
Mhm.
the Jaegers and Del Toro's, they felt the word I'm looking for is majestic. They felt
Exactly.
like majestic. Like when you pilot a Jaeger, it truly felt like an honor. Like,
You're transcendent,
yeah, I'm piloting a Jaeger.
you know?
And and the kaijus actually look kind of terrifying. They look like monsters. In this, the Jaegers were kind of like Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's what they look like. And the Jaegers, the kaiju look like, you know, cannon fodder pretty much.
Yeah.
So
It's the I don't know how to explain it. This might have been more of a writing thing. Was a lot of the dialogue in that movie was because it kind of plays into what you're saying that majestic about the Jaegers. Is every time the female character saw a Jaeger, she'd be in awe, and then she would find out who piloted it, and then she'd be in awe again. Um, and this was another thing. We only ever saw the two pilots, and then the cadets. You never once got to see the pilots of the other Jaegers that were supposed to be this big and grand. Which in the first one,
well, we kind of saw one, but they kind
yeah,
of yeah, but yeah.
but you get my point. That like, they didn't really explore any of those characters. When in the first one, every pilot had it. You were introduced to them for each Jaeger. They all had a purpose. They all died doing something to help. Whereas the Jaegers that we saw just quickly ended. Like you never really saw those, and it was just the cadets are piloting them now.
And they tried to do two plot twists. I'm not gonna spoil the movie just in case y'all see it, but they tried to do two plot twists that it was like whatever. Like you kind like brief for a brief second, like, I ain't see. And he's like, all right,
Yeah, it felt
because that's how they did it. They made it like, okay, this huge plot twist,
yeah,
no ramifications from it, moving on.
yep.
So that's how you felt. So
It's and then some of the John Boyega's character, I guess, because he does do the majority of this talk. Is I don't mind a character talking about themselves, but at a certain point, it got a little creepy because he's talking about himself like that to a girl that's like 15 or 16 years old.
I didn't take that as creepy. That's just him playing.
Yeah.
He was just saying when you get older, you could be as good looking as me. I didn't feel like that wasn't creepy. I don't feel like it was creepy. It was just like, to me, it was like too much of his personality, how he is in
Yeah.
person, because he plays like that in person. It's kind of bleeding into this movie for better and for worse, because he's a
Yeah.
very charismatic dude.
Yeah.
That's how I took that. I didn't take it from a creepy standpoint. He looked at her like a little kid sister. So I didn't
That
take it from a
well, that was
creep.
later. I'm talking about like early in the
Even
movie, but
early on, I didn't take it
yeah.
creepy. He always looked at her like this little brat
Yeah, okay.
that's in my way, a thorn in
Um
my side.
it,
So
it, it was now there were certain action set pieces in it that I think you and I both liked that were just it's almost like you have to be able to knock the ball out of the park with robots versus monsters when they're fighting. And there were some of the fight scenes in there that were pretty cool. That were fun to watch. Some of them just got messed up by the kaiju. It was really some of it was actually kind of humorous to watch.
mm.
And then let's see. I mean, there's really not much to kind of break down for the movie. It was just, and I think I probably expected a little much because it was one of my honorable mentions in my top 10 list a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago now, and it, like I said, I think one of the main things I said in that top 10 podcast was I look forward to it because I just want to see more monsters and robots fighting.
Rock'em sock'em
Yeah,
robots.
and another thing you said, you leaned over to me more while watching it when the action finally started to ramp up. You were like, "Thank God it's finally starting,"
Yeah.
because it was a cool minute before you start seeing the robots, other than just standing or their feet walking across the screen, when they actually finally start to fight. And that was, I'm not sure why they waited that long, because what led up to that didn't really feel necessary to lead up to, you know?
Oh, and kid from Wrinkle in Time has competition for worst supporting actor. Scott Eastwood. Wow. I
Man,
can't. him versus the kid is this. I can't even blame him so much, but whoever wrote this movie, I mean, his lines were 1980, like it was the 1980s and 70s action movie
Yep.
ramped up by 3. Like, you want to take down the kaiju? Hell yeah. Man, that's cool. Cadets, we don't fight here. We're a family. It's like, wow, dude. This dude was like generic as can be, bro. Like, wow.
Yeah, his character, every time I would just see him talking, I was like, I couldn't see anything else but his father. Like, I just kept looking, I'm like, that's just his dad. And
it ain't even because his dad could sell one-liners.
Well, that's what I'm saying. His dad, what I'm saying is just like, he might not be able to act. Like, and he might only be in movies because of who his father is.
Nepotism.
But man, I don't know if he's worse than that kid though.
I said he's a contender so far.
He's a far away second.
I don't know, bro. But yeah, he was alright. I guess he wasn't bad. I don't know, but no, yeah,
it's the movie overall.
The girl wasn't a great actor. The kid's sister, she was okay, but
she was all right. It is, now that I think about it, the movie itself didn't really explore too much character development out of those two, the girl and John Boyega's character.
Yeah, like, our friend pointed something out. John Boyega was more emotional about her past than she was.
Yeah,
which was crazy because with the Jaegers, y'all gotta be unison in the mind, so they get to see each other's memories, and yeah. But I'm gonna give some positives. I'm not, because I found the tendency lately. I've been like critiquing the movie and not giving positives. The positives is the last 20-30 minutes, the action. It was fun. It was fun. Like I said, it didn't look as majestic and grand as the original, the action, but it was fun and ramped up. It was pretty cool. So.
I think that's why you probably didn't look as majestic, is because the old Jaegers felt gigantic. They really felt huge on the screen, whereas this one, there was some huge Jaegers there, but I think they try to make them smaller so they can show that it's faster paced, if that makes sense.
Not necessarily smaller, almost like
they were more fluid than they were in the first one.
Yeah, fluid.
Yeah.
But that kind of took away from the...
No, I get what you're saying, but like I was just saying, like I think that's...
Because when you see old kaiju movies, Godzilla's versus King Kong...
Very clunky.
It's very clunky, but it's clunky because it's these huge lumbering figures. So when they punch each other, you're supposed to feel a boom, or they feel large.
The punch is supposed to feel heavy.
Yeah, but
I'll actually say that a lot of the fight, like whenever punches would connect with the kaiju or whatever, they didn't feel.
Except that one in the ice, Siberia. That one. That
one was actually, that scene was actually, that was a dope scene.
Yeah,
just that entire sequence itself, the way they fought,
that action was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's more grappling than punches being thrown too, which I like that aspect. I was like, it's cool watching robots basically wrestle themselves down to the ground in a jiu-jitsu style fighting. But I like that idea. That was cool. Like I said, the action set pieces of the movie were really solid. They were fun to watch. But like I said, robots versus, giant alien monsters is still pretty cool. Like
kaiju,
sorry. That lends itself to that fun little action set pieces. If you were to put a number out of 10?
4.7.
4.7? I'm going to say 4.5 out of 10. Or no, I'm sorry, no. I was going to say 5.10. 5.0 out of 10. There we go. I got it out. Just it met me halfway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was that. And then there's really not much else to add.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go see it, I would say go watch it in IMAX, just because of the nature of what you're watching on the screen. Spend a couple dollars extra, go watch it in IMAX, just because that will make the movie better if you watch it in IMAX. On a smaller screen, that's not that IMAX screen experience. Really not the same. And then let's see. I think we really had those two things: the trailer, And then you said you wanted to add something.
Yeah. Spielberg made some interesting comments. They were talking to him about Ready Player One, and he made interesting comments that he doesn't feel Netflix movies should be nominated for Oscar or in Oscar contention, like Netflix originals and things like that. Not movies in the theaters, but Netflix originals.
Stuff that never hits the theaters.
Never hits the theaters. I'm disagreeing with the GOAT on this one. I'm disagreeing with the greatest of all time on this one. If you look at the current crop of Netflix movies, most of them, absolutely. If he's basing it on the current crop, I can agree with what Spielberg's saying. But overall, I know this is Spielberg, but this is just my opinion. I just feel like it's a guy, he made his life work cinema. That's that man's life. Cinema.
It was what, 18?
Big screen. So he has this, y'all know, if you've been watching this, you know my knock against Netflix. This is not me so much defending Netflix, but this is so much saying a great movie's a great movie. Whether it hits the cinema or not. You know, I have my issues with Netflix. I've said it many a times, but a great movie is a great movie. A great example of that and why I disagree with Spielberg is Mudbound. Mudbound didn't hit theaters.
That's true.
And it was very critically acclaimed. It's another movie with Idris Elba where he played like a dictator authoritarian. Birth of No Nation or something like that.
Birth of a Nation.
Not Birth of a Nation. That's that's Nat Turner. I know that. Well,
it takes place in Africa. The main character's a little kid. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but that was a Netflix original.
And I think that got, and everybody thought that was going to be an Oscar contender. So a great movie is a great movie. Yeah. I just think he has this old school mentality, him, Nolan, Tarantino, because their life work is going to that cinema. Yeah. That's their passion. But
Netflix
you gotta understand the format is changing for the better or for the worse. It's changing. So if Netflix puts out a good movie, once again, it goes back to another thing we said. A movie should be judged on its merits.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter how it's released, what it's released on. If the movie's good, the movie's good. Period. Right. It's a very simple statement that I think a lot of people overlook on a regular basis. No, I agree. I'm with you on that one. I would agree with the GOAT, and I think next week will prove
you won and agree with the GOAT.
Yeah, you almost won. No, sorry. Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm sorry, and I disagree with the GOAT. But we're big Spielberg fans, and I just kind of to explain to you that we're not doing that lightly. I get where he's coming from, like you said. If he's really talking about the movies that just came out, the current crop, but it's also, you have to assume it's probably a blanket statement.
Yeah.
Netflix releases a movie, it shouldn't be considered at all, whether it's good or not. And you're saying no, if it's good and it's getting that type of buzz, it absolutely should be. Absolutely. Which Netflix is definitely, trying to do stuff like that. They're trying to produce best quality content that they can. They should probably think a little bit about more of it before they release it, or
filter it. Goes back to what I said, filter more. But, yeah.
That comes down to producers, like you said, and they do have producers, but usually the producers are Netflix executives, just greenlighting stuff. They don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
They know from a business model, they got it down to a T, but, at the end of the day, people will catch on. They will catch on. Transformers kind of caught on with that franchise.
Yeah. But the first one was good.
Yeah. But
I would defend the first one. People say the first one wasn't guilty pleasure. No, the first one wasn't guilty pleasure. It was actually a good movie. Yeah. But yeah.
No, I mean, is there anything else that you want to add to this week?
This week coming up, we'll be reviewing Ready Player One.
Yeah, that'll be.
And the dog wanted to do something pretty cool. He wanted to name. You said the 10 best Spielberg movies or our 10 favorite Spielberg movies. So we'll probably split them up because there's going to be a lot to unpack with Ready Player One.
Yeah.
from a, I know this is a gamer community predominantly, so from a gamer community standpoint, and even from a film standpoint, it's going to be a lot to unpack. So that podcast might go like our Black Panther, 30-40 minutes in. But we'll do the separate day. We'll probably do a 10 10 favorite Spielberg movies.
At worst case scenario, Thursday leading up to the Ready Player One review, we'll do that top 10 list of our favorite Spielberg movies. And I was gonna ask, did you want to do it as a 1 to 10, or just here's our 10 favorite?
You can do a 1 to 10. That's more interesting.
Okay, yeah. So we'll rank them. I'm probably put wear my Goonie shirt. That's a hint of what's gonna be on my list. But yeah, I mean that's what we got for next week. And then any Ready Player One's only review next week, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, he's probably gonna have to rein me in on that one because I was speaking with Cabbage earlier on my stream, and I'm very, very excited for Ready Player One. And I gotta tone it down. I knowingly know I should tone it down before I go watch it, but it's really hard to do that right now. But yeah, no, that's what we got for next week, and then we got episode 20 nearing close here in the next couple weeks. That we haven't thought of anything yet, but we're planning on doing something special for the 20th week in a row of doing the podcast. And
hopefully we have a logo soon. It's mad overdue.
Cabbage probably knows the guy, but it's from the community that came and talked to us yesterday during the stream. He's actually working on a logo as we speak. So he's working on it. And I messaged a couple other people, just kind of get a bunch of different ideas going at one time.
And then when we get the logo, I want y'all to follow us on Twitter at Film Planet Pod.
Film Planet Pod. I will link it in the description for the YouTube, but I'll also put it in one of the tabs here on the Twitch page as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was this week. Peace.